Welcome to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of thevikingage.com. My name is Chris Schad. I'm a writer for the Viking Age Zone Coverage, Bring Me the News, and the Brookings Register. My co-host is Adam Patrick, who is the managing editor of the Viking Age. We do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. However you consume us, make sure you rate, comment, like, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. As you can see, Adam is here on his Roman Reigns schedule, a rare double week for Adam because we are here to talk about the 2024 schedule. How are you feeling about that, Adam?
I'm always excited when schedule release happens. We're just closer to the season actually beginning. Get a better idea of how this team, might perform. Unlike some other sports, the NFL schedule can really just kind of determine how successful your team is. So, while other people are like, "Who cares? Just a schedule release." No, actually, it matters. Like if they have a tough stretch to begin the season, it could derail their whole season. So, I always enjoy the schedule release, and the Vikings didn't leave anything to be not interested about because it's pretty intriguing the way they have things set up this year.
And don't forget, the NFL schedule also is, how should I put this? It's very prominent in the minds of most Americans because people go on road trips. Sometimes there's a game in Tennessee that is the same weekend as somebody's sister's wedding. I don't know if I want to go too much further into detail on that.
I had something similar happen last year where I was probably going to go to the Broncos game, but it happened to fall on the same time that I had to go to a wedding as well. So the one week I needed it to not be, it was. So that always seems to happen.
And the other thing is too, the Jacksonville game, which is right before it. I mean, I can't take 2 weekends off in a row. So it's kind of like, I mean, I could if I wanted to, but
right.
I don't want to screw the other guy I work with over. But regardless of our plans and trips and all that stuff, I figured I would just read the schedule off. And, the episode is hot takes. We will have our hot takes for the Vikings schedule. But I think the best way to do this is go through the schedule, just pop some thoughts up when we see things come up and go ahead and do it that way. So a little bit of schedule, a little bit of NFL stuff. What do you think about that?
I'm ready to go.
I was kind of filibustering there to try and get the schedule up because I had closed it like a very smart host. But all right, let's start with the preseason schedule. No, just kidding. We're not going.
Thank you.
We're not going to go through that. If you're interested, Raiders at home, Browns on the road, Eagles on the road. So I don't know. You're a real fan when you go on the road for a preseason game, like it.
Yeah. I don't know. They cost the same.
yeah, I know. That's the thing. Like, I feel bad for the kids that go and they're like, score a touchdown for me, JJ. And Justin Jefferson's like sitting on the sideline the entire game. Like, well, yeah, that suck as a parent. But anyway, I don't have kids. I don't have to deal with that.
Nope.
The real opener for the Minnesota Vikings will be Sunday, September 8th at noon. Kirk Cousins would be proud, at the New York Giants. No word on whether or not the Giants will wear those horrendous throwback jerseys that they unveiled this week, which I think there should be a rule with throwback jerseys. Like nothing before like 1970 should be considered. Yeah. Like don't do the 1936 Philadelphia Red Wings or whatever the fuck it is.
Unless you're gonna wear unless you're actually gonna wear leather helmets, don't bother.
And I don't think the NFLPA would approve of that. No. They'd be like, are you fucking high? I'll cut back on the F-bombs here. But I mean, it is just funny to me when I see the New York Giants and wearing those uniforms. It's like, this was unnecessary. We didn't need to do this. What do you think of the Vikings opening up Sunday, September 8th at the New York Giants?
I think it's perfect. It's a good kind of I don't know if you could say a measuring stick, because Giants with Daniel Jones as their quarterback, they're not really that good. They lost Saquon Barkley. They did add Malik Neighbors. Their defense is pretty good, but I think didn't they fire their defensive coordinator and they move on from Wink Martindale and they added someone else.
Yes, they did.
So I don't expect them to be as blitz happy as they were under him. And I think it'll be a good test to see how the new Vikings, some of their new defensive pieces work out with, Dallas Turner, Jonathan Grenard, Van Ginkel, all those guys. I think they'll have a fun time chasing Daniel Jones around. It's definitely a winnable game. You would like to start your season out at home, but if this is the other scenario, I think it's fine. I could definitely see them starting 1-0 for sure.
Shane Bowen's the new defensive coordinator for the Giants. Tremendous beard. It's like very Ryan Fitzpatrick like, where it's kind of bushy, but it's not like out of control.
Where did he coach last? Was he with the Seahawks?
Tennessee Titans.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Defensive coordinator with the Titans, of course. Titans lost Mike Vrabel.
They had some pretty good defenses during the
Vrabel days. Yes, they did. This, of course, is the Daniel Jones revenge game in the minds of any Vikings fans after he shredded Ed Donatel. He's going to be facing Brian Flores this time, so it might be a little bit more difficult. And depending on how that recovery from his ACL surgery goes, I don't know. I don't even know who their backup is right now. Do you know?
Drew Lock.
So
we could see Drew Lock
account would be like.
I think it's JJ account now. He's switching.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So your official prediction here is a win. We'll keep them as we go on.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So Adam's got to win. I got to win here. I think that's okay. Week 2, the Vikings come home for their home opener. That's the good news. It's Sunday, September 15th at noon against offensive genius Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers. Not great. Not great at all.
I mean, they did beat them last year.
They did.
Without Justin Jefferson. Now the Niners, I don't think they didn't have Deebo Samuel or Trent Williams. And McCaffrey was kind of banged up, but they did beat them. And this is Niners traveling from the West Coast, so it'll be a 10 o'clock start for them in their time. Home openers usually pretty loud in US Bank Stadium. That's you can at least guarantee that. As much as I would like to say this is not a good matchup, I think the Vikings still have a chance. Does it depend who plays quarterback? Yeah, probably. But I'm not counting the Vikings out as much as maybe some people are like, oh, that's an easy loss. It's just a given loss. But I will say that they'll probably lose that game.
So
that being said.
Yeah. You just spent about a minute saying, oh, well, it's not that tough of a matchup. I laugh when people bring up last year's game against the 49ers because they basically played a diet version of the 49ers.
Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned all the injuries. You also forgot to mention that Brock Purdy was concussed in the third quarter and had to go into concussion protocol. Didn't miss a snap, which I don't know, NFL. Oh, you didn't spot that. That's weird. Go on out there in this primetime game, Brock Purdy. There are also several plays in that 49ers game that kind of went the Vikings' way. One of them being that Jordan Addison touchdown right before the half, where A, Steve Wilkes decided to call a zero blitz, and B, Jordan Addison literally snatched it out of the hands of, who was it, Jaquiski Tart or whoever was on him.
Javarius Ward, I think.
Javarius Ward. Yep, that's who was on him. Yep. Just ripped it right out of his hands and walked into the end zone, basically.
That was after Ward ripped the ball out of Addison's hands to get an interception. So
correct.
Basically a similar play.
It was a tete-a-tete, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think those bounces are going to go the Vikings' way this time around, especially if Sam Darnold is quarterback. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So I am pegging the Vikings for a loss there as well. Sunday, September 22nd, against the Houston Texans. This was a game that many thought would be in London. It's going to be at US Bank Stadium. Stephon Diggs and Case Keenum going to be up on the big screen, and the place will go crazy. I mean, that you laugh, but that will be super cool. Don't you think?
Yeah, are they gonna? You think they'll do something for that?
I think so. I think they'd put him on the screen
All
because
right.
I think there are a lot of fans that still love Stephon Diggs
Oh
for
yeah.
that play alone. And I mean, I know it ended messy, but I don't think it had anything to do with the fans. It was more Mike Zimmer was an asshole. So,
And Rick Spielman.
and Rick Spielman. Yes, Rick Spielman, who puts his pants on over his shoes,
He had no intent to trade him.
but it wound up happening. What do you think? Houston Texans, week 3.
Yeah. I think first glance, kind of similar to the 49ers. I was like, oh, that's a tough one. CJ Stroud's really good, but then I remembered last year the Titans, or not the Titans, the Texans were only 10-7 last year. They weren't this powerhouse team. They were the NFC South. They were 10-7. Yeah, they added Diggs. Yeah, they added Daniel Hunter. A couple other pieces as well, and they're going to be healthier, obviously. But I looked at their road record last year too, and they were 4-5, I think, or 4-5 or 4-4 on the road. So it's not a gimme win for them either. So I think it'll be close. I will say win for the Vikings. I think their defense. It's the Jonathan Grenard and Blake Cashman revenge games too. So can't forget about that.
Yeah, I really think Sam Darnold's clouding my judgment here when it
Oh,
comes
he
to
should be.
Yeah, and when it comes to, and I mean, he could be better than I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. He could be completely serviceable, but that Texans offense looks really good. You got Dalton Schultz, who broke out last year. You added Joe Mixon, who I know he's over the
Oh, I
hill,
forgot
but
about him.
yeah, it's easy to forget about Joe Mixon. It's kind of they're doing the
Yeah.
same thing the Vikings are hoping with Aaron Jones, where it's like, yeah, we know he's like pushing 30,
Same
but
draft class.
he could still be good. Like Dalvin Cook broke down before all of them, which is kind of wild.
Yeah,
But
what's he up to? I thought he was in Hall of Fame form
he's
last year.
probably getting his bionic shoulder oiled up or
I
something.
thought his shoulder was brand new.
Just a little.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think it'll be close, but I think the Vikings they'll find a way to squeak it out. It's just I don't know. I don't know about the Texans yet. I think they're one of those teams that everyone's like excited about, they're getting hyped about, and then it's kind of like where they got to live up to their expectations. Where CJ Stroud, he was good, but was he like the best quarterback in the league last year? No, he was a rookie and he played really well. And then are we just totally not even going to consider JJ McCarthy starting week 1?
I don't think it happens.
You don't think so?
I don't. I honestly, unless he comes out and he's just like the greatest thing ever,
I don't think
or Darnold gets hurt.
Right. I just think there's a lot of time between now and start of the season. I just think back to, I know other people have brought this up, but when Russell Wilson went to the Seahawks after they signed Matt Flynn, not that Matt Flynn. Well, I mean, I guess you could compare Matt Flynn to Sam Darnold in terms of skill set and expectations, but the Seahawks brought Russell Wilson, who was a 3rd-round pick, and they were just like, yeah, you're better, so why don't you start? And I feel like the Vikings could, potentially do that, but of course, it all depends on the benchmarks that JJ McCarthy is able to hit, and it's early and it's rookie minicamp, and we really have no idea what's going to happen.
And that's what holds me back from thinking he's going to start the season. Like I'm thinking this is Kevin O'Connell. He tends to overthink. I think he's a good coach. I think in some instances he tends to galaxy brain things and all these things that need to happen when really it's just kind of like, hey, dude, just go out there. You got 18 over here. You got Jordan Addison over here. You got Robert Tonyan at tight end for a couple of weeks, which we also have to consider when we're picking the opening weeks of the schedule. TJ Hawkinson, not looking good. Not looking great.
Yeah.
But I mean,
probably
it's a thing. I'm imagining like this Karate Kid, like Mr. Miyagi type thing where like JJ McCarthy's painting Kevin O'Connell's house while he's gone fishing or something. And he's like, sand the floor, wax on, wax off. Wax not. Although JJ McCarthy also strikes me as more of a Cobra Kai guy when you look at it, like the blonde hair, the blue
He does.
eyes,
He does meditate, so he's probably into some of that stuff.
very Zen like.
Yeah.
It just the stuff just writes itself.
Um.
I'm picking the Texans.
Okay.
I have the Vikings at 1-2. You have them at 2-1.
Okay.
Anything else on this one or
no?
no? Okay. Then we'll go on to the next one.
What uniforms will the Texans be wearing? Probably just their away uniforms.
Yeah.
I like their new uniforms. I don't like the Houston the H-Town ones. Those seem like they were made create a team for Madden. But
yeah, the horns on the bull horns on the helmets too.
Yeah.
Some people were like, "That's a great idea," and I mean, I'm not one of those people like they copied the Vikings. Well, actually, they didn't because
it's a horn.
They're two
other
different
things
kind
have
of horns.
Other things have horns.
Yes. It's not a Viking horn, guy. Just
also
calm down.
Vikings. Those aren't really attached to their head. So
they are a bull. What they should have done was use Oilers colors, but we all know why that's not happening.
Yeah.
September 29th at the Green Bay Packers, first divisional game of the year. How are we feeling about this?
It's going to be tough. That's for sure. But it's first month of the year. It's probably not going to be cold. Even if it's raining, it's still going to be probably like 60 degrees. So I don't know. Like the Packers, they got off to a 2-5 start last year. Like they were not good. And
here's something I want to plant in your brain.
Oh boy. Okay.
And I was talking to a friend about this. A friend of mine got a new job, and the company that they work with is just outside of Milwaukee. So he went to an event yesterday to kind of like hype up sponsors for the 2025 NFL draft in Green Bay. Why it's in Green Bay, I have no fucking idea, but it's going to be there.
Where's everyone staying?
Yeah. So, they're trying, hey guys, give us some more money so we can promote this thing.
Can we build 30 hotels in 6 months?
Yeah. Well, we'll see what people are going to be shuttling from Appleton just to get there. But he wound up talking to Wayne Larrabee, who is there. And, eventually wound up saying, yeah, I'm a Vikings fan. And they had a good conversation. But the topic of Jordan Love came up. And he kind of asked him what he thought about Love and what he thought. And he goes, well, we're going to find out who he is this year. And he's like, you probably have to sign him because that's business. If I'm the Packers, I'm not signing him. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? And I know this is a Viking show. I won't spend too much time on it, but it's an important topic. The Detroit Lions just gave Jared Goff $52 million a year. He is basically the new Kirk Cousins in this division. If I'm the Packers, I'm looking at Jordan Love and being like, okay, you were awesome the second half of the year. Playoff game against San Francisco, you kind of went off the rails a little bit, and you have that first half. I'm not handing him $60 million right now.
They could franchise him, couldn't they?
What's that?
They could franchise him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You let him play out this year, the contract. You see what happens, and then you franchise him at the end of next year. And if he sucks, there's an easy out in the contract. Or you keep him around and you do the whole, draft a succession plan or whatever. And then he can sit behind Jordan Love for 5 years or whatever the hell it was. I'm not signing him yet.
Yeah. Tua's about to do the same thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would let it go. And if he outperforms the contract, you're like, okay, we got to pay this dude. You franchise him and you figure it out later. Like, I don't know. Like people are so scared. Like, oh my God, what happens if he's a free agent or whatever? Well, there are things to protect the organization.
There's a reason why he would be a free agent.
Yeah. So I don't know, like the whole Packers in general, like Jordan Love's just like one piece of it. It's like that whole team caught fire in the second half of the season. They're the youngest team in the NFL and progress isn't linear. So they could be a dumpster fire next year, but we'll wait and see. So,
yeah, I'll say this is a loss for them on the road. Green Bay is just a hard place to win. But I will say it's not going to be like this. It's kind of one of my, I guess I'll get into it. Like my hot takes is like looking at the first 5 games, even the Jets game. It's not as much of a bloodbath as I feel like some people are making it out to be. Where it's like, oh, they're gonna start 0-5 and the season's gonna be over. And it's like, no, all these teams are beatable. You know, the ball bounces the Vikings' way a couple times, and they can sneak out with some wins. I think it was what was it 20? It was 2016 when they just got Bradford and they started 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously everything just shit the bed after that. But like, you really just never. And what 2017 when they had Case Keenum, they 2-2, and he comes in and they go on a run. Like, you really just never know. Especially with the NFL. And I think the Vikings there's just too much talent on their entire roster to be like, oh, they're going to be, I think I saw someone predict they're going to have 3 wins next year. It's like, there is no way unless everyone like Justin Jefferson gets hurt, TJ Hawkinson doesn't play, you know, Grenard gets hurt, Addison gets hurt, Aaron Jones gets hurt. Like, everyone has to get hurt for them to be that bad.
Everybody got hurt last year and they still won 7 games.
Yeah, they had 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, they still found a way. I'm looking at my predictions going like, but, you know, spoiler alert, and we'll just bring this up right now. The Vikings the following week go to the New York Jets. They'll play them in London. You know, they're playing Aaron Rodgers on a neutral field, which sucks because getting him at US Bank Stadium would have been an advantage for this team. I have the Vikings starting 1-4 in the first 5 games of the season. And my hot take was the NFL really screwed them over in a lot of ways with this schedule. But to your point, I could see them winning against the Giants. I could see them beating the Texans. I could see them beating the Packers. And hell, maybe this Aaron Rodgers thing doesn't work out as much as the NFL wants it to. Did you see how many primetime games the Jets have?
Like, and they said that the NFL said like, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers owes us one." Why? Why do you want to put him on TV? Like,
I don't give a fuck about Aaron Rodgers. half the country doesn't care about Aaron Rodgers.
What if he sucks?
Yeah, if what if he turns out to be? What year was Peyton Manning just dog shit and had no arm and won the Super Bowl? 2015, 2015 or something like that. Yeah. Like, what if that's Aaron Rodgers now? Like, it's
Favre's final year, he was terrible.
And like, I think sometimes too, like, you know, people overestimate, well, the drama of the Jets. That doesn't mean that makes it fun to watch.
And on the field, yeah.
Yeah, like if Aaron Rodgers is throwing 4 interceptions in spite, I mean, I would love to watch that. That would be great. Like, get fucked, buddy. But
is Aaron Rodgers doing a podcast in the middle of the game? Like, is that what he's doing?
It's the Rodgers. Well, you see, it's 1st and 10 right here. I don't really like Robert Saleh. Nathan Hackett's calling the play. He's a fucking idiot. I'm not going to do that. Let me tell you my thoughts on vaccination while we're here. 1st and down, ready. Yeah. So I mean, I think, and I mean, also, we haven't gotten to the bye yet. Like,
the Vikings are undefeated in London. Okay.
Oh,
they've never lost in London.
Okay, I still have them at 1-4 though. How about you?
Oh yeah, I had 2-2. Up in at 3-2. That'd be nice.
3-2. So you're the optimist. I'm the pessimist right now.
This is much different than the schedule I put out the other day, which I think I had them at 8-9.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's probably how this season will end up, to be honest.
There's plenty of games where they can lose too.
Exactly. The week 6 bye, not great. That's October 13th. Especially when you come out of it, you host the Detroit Lions at home. Detroit's one of those teams too. They're in the same vein as the Texans, where they have to prove it. Like, they have to prove
they're a little better than the Texans.
They are better than Texans. Yes, I will say that. But I mean, at the same time, first place schedule matters. Who
do the Lions play before? I think don't they play like the Cowboys or something before they play the Vikings.
I'll let you look that up here while I make this point. But
I think so.
Dan Campbell could very well be 6-0 against the Vikings. He's 4-2, won the last 3 games, but the 2 losses came when Kirk Cousins had the miracle drive and helped Greg Joseph kick a 54-yard field goal as time expired. And then the following matchup at US Bank Stadium, they had 2 14-point leads before they decided to kick a field goal on 4th and 7 or something like that.
Yep.
And then KJ Osborne had the long touchdown pass catch from Kirk Cousins, game that I attended. So I'm picking the Lions here. Again, the Sam Darnold effect is not a joke here. I have them at 1-5.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm actually factoring that in. Like, I probably should be like factoring Sam Darnold in, but I just think they're not gonna. I think Kevin O'Connell's gonna find ways to put him in a position to succeed more than probably any other team that Sam Darnold has been a part of. I think the bar is pretty low when you consider the Jets and the Panthers. Their offenses that he was in. But even the Niners, like he played, people are like, oh, he played so well in week 18. It's like week 18, no one was playing.
On either side.
Yeah, Carson Wentz. He was playing against Carson Wentz. But yeah, the Lions play the Cowboys in the late afternoon the week before they play the Vikings on the road. So they could be kind of banged up coming out of that game. And the Vikings will have a bye. They'll have two extra week to prepare for the Lions. Fuck it. Let's go with a win.
Let's go with a win. You are drinking the purple Kool-Aid, my friend.
Apparently.
We got you at 4-2.
I'm feeling good on this Friday, whatever's going on.
Yeah. It's a nice day out here. At least it's 80 here. Very
Raining
sunny.
here.
Rainy. I feel like the roles should be reversed.
Only rain of the month so far. So.
Well, there you go. That's a win. 4 days later, the Vikings will have their mandatory Thursday night game, October 24th. The good news is it's against a familiar opponent in Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams. Bad news is Sean McVay knows everything the Vikings are going to do. I have another loss coming.
Yeah, I'm going to say this is a loss. It's hard. 4 days on the road.
And this is why we'll get into this right here. I think this is the last game of the Sam Darnold era. So I think he'll start the first, what are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 games. Because I think there's a couple of different windows that they could put JJ McCarthy in. Obviously, the preferred one for Vikings fans is probably week 1, but it sounds like he needs a little bit of development. And again, we're basically all saying this based off of one rookie mini camp with a whole bunch of practice squad wide receivers.
Yeah.
Like
he's a bust.
I hate I used to love playing fantasy football, but I hate it so much now because it's just like every analyst has to get likes on. Caleb Williams looks like a Hall of Famer out there right now. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, there's nobody rushing him or anything else. And
rookie minicamp is basically the combine with pads or with a helmet on.
Yes.
It's essentially what it is.
And you're wearing team merchandise.
Yeah.
Instead of like
basically what it is.
Doing it in your shorts.
You're playing catch.
Yes.
With a helmet on.
Look at this curl route. You got to take him 101 in your sleeper draft.
What would have to happen in order for JJ McCarthy to start against the Lions? Sam Darnold has to get hurt, or Sam Darnold's just playing terrible going into the bye, or does that have anything to do with it? Would they still be like, you know what? Even if Sam Darnold's hurt, would they put Nick Mullins in?
I think it would have to be horrifically bad in the first 5. Because do you agree with me? Do you think Sam Darnold starting those first 5 games? Or do you think it'll be JJ McCarthy?
I think right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of time between now and the start of the season. And things could change in training camp. Like that takes a couple practices, a preseason game, and things could change. But right now, the odds-on favorite to start would probably be Sam Darnold.
Do you think there's a chance? Because I think there's a chance here. Does Kevin O'Connell turn to Nick Mullins before JJ McCarthy?
That's the thing. I don't know. I think he would. I don't think JJ McCarthy would benefit from being the number 3 because with number 2 quarterback, you're running the scout team, so you're at least getting some reps.
Okay.
During the week. Number 3, you're just basically just standing on the sideline, filling in every now and then for some throws. So I don't even think he would benefit from being the number 3.
Okay. I mean, I think it's a fair question because I know the interceptions were there, but at the same time, he put up 370 yards per start.
Yeah, I think they cut Nick Mullins actually, and they keep Jaron Hall on the practice squad.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Jaron Hall.
Yep,
he's just kind of there now.
Hey guys,
remember me? So you said loss for the Rams game, right?
Yeah, it's just too. If it was home, maybe different, but you're going to the West Coast on a short week after a game against tough division opponent, and like you said, Sean McVay. Did you see the I think their schedule video where it was like asking Sean McVay trivia, and they were asking him play calls of like, what was the play call on Puka Nakua's first ever catch, and he would just go blah, 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 and
Yeah.
like just say everything, and I'm just like, oh my, like this guy's brain is insane.
He is going to be when he's done coaching, he is going to be so good on TV.
Oh yeah.
Like that is going to
He's gonna
be
be the Tom Brady, like pursuing him and everything. The funny thing is, him and Jason Kelsey are probably gonna be on the same like staff or whatever. It's gonna be just totally two different spectrums.
Yeah, you're just going to have comic relief in the pure like football stream.
Yeah, I would he be better as an analyst or like in game? Because like I feel like he might be too much for in game with the way that like all the information that he knows. But
So
who knows?
put him in like a suit and tie. I mean, I think
It depends what he wants to do, obviously.
I feel like Kelsey would be better as like a desk guy. And
Yeah, like
where is
Monday
he
night.
going?
He's going on Monday Night Football, I think.
So
ESPN.
he's on ESPN in place of Robert Griffin III, who I actually think is
He's
pretty
good.
good as an analyst. But maybe he's doing more college stuff. I don't know. I didn't see the full story there. But are you surprised the Vikings only have 2 primetime games?
No. They only won 7 games, and they have a rookie quarterback, and the league just doesn't know. They only had 2 primetime games in 2022. So, I mean, they're going to London too. I don't know if that has to do with anything.
Yeah.
With it. If they're counting that if the league is counting that as a primetime game.
I mean, outside of Justin Jefferson, what's the draw to the Vikings right now?
Just
is there one?
The rivalries, I guess. That's why they're playing the Bears on Monday night. I mean, they play the Bears on Monday night every year.
Yeah.
It was gonna be them or the Packers on Monday night this year. I knew that.
And it's usually a dog shit game that everybody's just like, why is this a primetime game?
Yeah, I know. That's one where I'm like, is this just like Chicago's got a big fan base and the Vikings do too? It's just because even back in the day, like in the 90s, they'd be on Monday Night Football too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Randall McDaniel blowing up Mike Singletary.
It's
at the fullback position.
I want to say, I think Chris Carter won in like overtime or something on Monday night against the Bears, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're always, it was either going to be them or the Packers, because that's who they always play in prime time. But no, like, and I don't mind. I'd rather have all their games be at it's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock for me.
For Vikings fans, no primetime games is a good thing. I know Kirk Cousins isn't
here. Kirk Cousins is like, hey, what that like?
Come on!
Yeah.
Really?
Meanwhile, the Falcons are like on primetime like 4 times in their first 5 games.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins until our eyes bleed. That is the motto of the NFL. Sunday, November 3rd. Write it down. Indianapolis Colts at home. That's going to be JJ McCarthy's first start, I think. Mm-hmm. It might be week 6. It might be week 1. I think the first window is week 9 at home against the Colts team that's going to be pretty good, but I don't think they're like, oh my God, here come the Colts.
Right. It's a non-conference opponent too, so even if you lose, it's not going to have that much of an impact on your seeding in the NFC.
Yeah. So I mean, you start him at home, you kind of dip his toes in the water. Do you know what? The Vikings are going to win JJ McCarthy's first start.
Oh yeah.
You want some optimism? You want some good vibes? I'll give it to you here. I'd say the Vikings win.
I mean, they won Josh Dobbs' first start last year, so why can't they win JJ McCarthy's?
Yeah. So that's a win for you too?
Yeah.
Big rematch of the greatest comeback in NFL history, or as some people know it, the game that killed Matt Ryan's career.
Biggest fumble in NFL history.
Yes. Week 10, the Vikings go to the home of All Elite Wrestling, Jacksonville. Maybe Tony Khan will be there in a neck brace. Who knows? Noon start. Probably a lot of snowbirds making the trek down to Jacksonville. How you feeling about this game?
It's a loss. I think the Jaguars are better than people think. I think Trevor Lawrence was injured for most of last year, and that's why he kind of wasn't that great. They almost made the playoffs. I think they wasn't it, or did they? Was it between the Colts and the Texans? I think that's who it was last year. But either way, the Jaguars weren't terrible last year. They who they drafted Brian Thomas. They still have some solid. They still have Christian Kirk, some other solid weapons like Doug Peterson's a good coach on the road. I think this is a game where like the Vikings are like, oh, this is easy. We're gonna get a win and it'll be good. And then Jaguars are like, no, you're not. We're gonna beat you. So Jaguars win.
Yeah, they signed Gabe Davis in free
Oh
agent.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't like their receiver core looking at it. Like Christian Kirk's fine. Brian Thomas, okay. I mean, it's LSU receiver. So if you're helmet scouting, he's got a chance. Davis is such hit and miss, though. Like one game he'll have 120 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the next he'll be
it's very
non-existent.
2014 Vikings where it's like Greg Jennings, who else did they have? Who's the dude that did the flip?
Jerome Simpson.
Yeah, Jerome
Homegrown
Simpson.
Jerome.
Charles Johnson, Jarius Wright. Like it's very 2014.
Mike Wallace. Did you mention him?
No, that was 2015. That's what I did.
That was 2015, but saying you could tell me it was the other year, and I'd probably be
for sure.
Yeah. I think it's a win. I think there will be enough of a home field advantage. They'll be riding the JJ McCarthy train. I'm gonna give them another win here. So that's my story there. The following week, probably a lot of Viking fans making this trip too. Tennessee, November 17th at the Titans. I don't fear the Titans at all. I know they got a new head coach. I know Will Levis is there, the pirate from Dodgeball, but I win. I don't even have to think about that. They are going to crush like Morgan Wallen, drunk off his ass on the top of Eric Church's bar, throwing chairs off the top. Don't do that if you're going down there. They frown upon that, but
he drinks. I didn't know that.
Yeah. He says he doesn't have a problem either, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, this is a different podcast. I have them losing to the Titans.
You have them losing.
Yeah, I think the Titans are going to be a surprise team this year. I think, not solely because of Will Levis, but they added a lot of, they traded for Calvin Ridley and they signed Tony Pollard. They just signed, who else did they sign? Dude from the Bengals, Tyler Boyd. They had DeAndre Hopkins. Their fourth receiver is the dude they drafted a couple years ago.
Treylon Burks.
Yeah.
Did you know, speaking of fantasy football, this is funny to me. There is a calculator out there that if you throw Treylon Burks into a trade, it's negative value.
Oh, that's good.
It's probably not a not a good sign for his career.
Who else do they have? I'm trying to look at Jeffrey Simmons. They signed. Oh yeah, I forgot they got L'Jarius Sneed. They traded for him. This year. They got some interesting pieces, and new coach. There's always at least one new coach who kind of does well and surprises people. And the dude from the Bengals, the Bengals offense is pretty good the last few years with him helping out. So I think the Titans are going to surprise some people.
Also helps when you have Joe Burrow. Digits is on my side though. He says, "What you talking about, Will Levis? Bust written all over that quarterback." My take.
Well, he's gonna be like the 4th pick last year.
Matey. Steve the Pirate. It will never get out of my head. At the Chicago Bears, Week 12, November 24th. Caleb Williams, his first exposure to the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah. Will he be healthy? It's a loss. It's Chicago. It's just bad vibes every year. Nighttime.
But I also think, no, that's a noon game. But
their Monday night games at home.
I also feel like the Vikings have played better at Chicago in recent years.
Recently, yeah.
Let me look this up here. So Vikings Bears history. I don't know
They beat Tyson Bagent or whatever last year. I remember that he played. Was that last year or the year before? Oh, it was last year.
Secret Bajent man, as Chris Berman called him. That was pretty good.
He's
But
great. He's great.
let's see. I can't find. There we go. Football database. That's what I usually use for this. Taking forever to load. So okay. So they lost last year. No. They won last year in Chicago. I guess this is based off of the Bears instead of the Vikings. So that's my luck. So the Vikings have won the last 1, 2, 3, 4 games at Soldier Field. So maybe it's not a curse anymore.
But that was without, the greatest trio of receivers in NFL history being on the Bears roster, which is what everyone's saying right now. So
yeah.
Hey, can we play a game first? Yeah. Okay.
No. It's rookie minicamp. Everything matters right now.
Who's gonna stop him?
Who's gonna stop him?
Who's gonna stop a 35-year-old Keenan Allen? Who's gonna?
They got was a walking hamstring injury rate. I forget about DJ Moore over there too all the time.
That's really good when he's supposed to be one of the three best receivers
in NFL history.
People forget about him. Yeah.
3 deep, but for the Chicago Bears. I'm going with the Soldier Field vibes though. I'm picking a loss here as well. Week 13. I think if they don't start JJ McCarthy in week 9, it'll be week 13 against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people are saying. December 1st, noon. How are we feeling? Kyler Murray coming into town. Is it a Call of Duty double XP weekend?
Call of Duty, I think I just heard this the other day. I think it comes out in October this year, so it's a little early. So it'll be in November. He'll have already played the whole game and everything by then.
It'll be Black Friday weekend. They'll get everybody buying it for cheap, and then they'll have a double XP like right after that.
That's it. The Cardinals have another, wide receiver group that everyone should be worried about with, Zay Jones and Greg Dortch, Trey McBride at tight end.
Zay Jones is going to eat some glass and walk around naked and threaten to jump out the window.
Marvin Harrison Jr. though, he's probably going to be pretty good.
It's Larry Fitzgerald all over again. Just Larry Fitzgerald and a whole bunch of jobbers.
Was Josh McCown Larry Fitzgerald's first quarterback? I feel like he was.
That I don't know.
Because I want to say Fitzgerald's first season was the Nathan Poole game or Nate Poole.
Let's see here. I feel like that was the year before he was there.
It was before
2004. So
that was the year. That
2004 was the Moss year. That was the Moss Mooning year because he was traded in 2005.
You're right.
So that was Brock Lesnar on the Vikings year.
Yeah.
Which would have been fun, but of course not. But yeah, his first quarterback then would have been looking here. Oh, of course, it took me to the league page. Come on. Yes, Josh McCown, 13 starts. He was 6-7, 57% completion rating, and 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
Ooh, nice.
So killed it. There's also Sean King and John Navarre, in case you were interested.
Sean King, wow. Former Bucks, great. Went to Tulane too, I think. Is it better for JJ McCarthy to start at home or on the road? Because I feel like on the road he might have less pressure. I feel like a tougher environment.
Yeah,
but like at home, I feel like he's more expectations, but obviously it would be quieter and everything on the offensive side of the ball.
And I feel like too, maybe it's overblown because he's got to play on the road at some point. You can't keep him.
Yeah, right.
This isn't like baseball. Oh my God, a left-hander's on the mound. We better pinch hit. Oh, he just put a right-hander to face him anyway. But
all right, Sam, you got to play in Detroit. Okay, can't put JJ out there. It's too dangerous. Too loud.
Right. Yes. The old splits. That would be one way to keep the quarterbacks down. You just like employ 2 quarterbacks.
Like old LSU style when they had like didn't they was it like Johan Davey and Booty? Did they do 2 quarterbacks then?
John David Booty was USC.
Oh.
Or Rohan Davey was LSU. Yes.
Right. Joe, did I say
Ryan
Johan?
Perlew was a LSU quarterback back in the day.
Yeah. Sounds familiar.
Trying to think of anybody else, but
You'll get to play them all soon.
Yes, NCAA or no, college football 25. It's not NCAA 25. The trailer dropped today. I am giddy with excitement for that game. They had the Badgers chopping down the goalpost with Paul Bunyan's axe, which isn't great, but it means you do it as the Gophers as well. They'll also have jump around in the game, which will also, when you pull off that upset in Madison right after they do that, it will hit like crack.
Syracuse even made an appearance in the trailer. They're even in the dome there.
That's right. The funny thing somebody pointed out was Ohio State must have like pissed off somebody at EA because their only appearance in the game is getting stiff-armed by Donovan Edwards, who is a cover athlete for the Michigan Wolverines. And then the other one is what was it called? The Ellebuck Trophy. It's like a giant turtle, and they give it for Illinois and Ohio State. And Illinois hasn't won that game since 2007. So
I think they had like a Wyoming trophy or whatever too. I think.
Yep. Yeah.
I was like, this is random.
It is going to be insane. Are you a big college football game guy or no?
I mean, I played it back in the day, but I don't have like a PS5 or anything.
If you were, and we'll get back to the schedule here in a second. I don't know. I'm trying to make this things are going fine. Sometimes I do these shows and like in the back of my head be like, oh my God, this isn't going. No. Nobody's watching live anyway. So it doesn't really matter. So, I mean, and if you are, thank you. We appreciate it. Comment, like, subscribe, do all those cool YouTube things. But like, who's the first school you're doing a dyno with? If you had a PS5.
I mean, I would do Syracuse just because they're in a dome, and I've been in that place so many times, and it's just hilarious to have Syracuse just dominating college football because they've never. Well, I guess in the late '90s they were pretty good,
but they've never rise up.
Yes,
man.
yes. Troy Nunes way back in the day.
Yeah,
Marvin Harrison went there. Dwight Freeney. They have a lot of NFL players come out of that.
Chandler Jones, right?
Yes. One last one. Quadri Ismail, former Viking.
I thought he was Notre Dame. Or
his brother went to Notre Dame.
Okay. Rocket Ismail.
Rocket.
Yeah.
The missile went to Syracuse.
Did they call that? I didn't even know.
That's his nickname.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
But let's see. You gotta go classic, like I don't know, like Florida or something, or even Michigan, I guess.
See, you're listing like all the Power 5 schools. Some people like you don't know what the grind is like.
San Diego State.
San Diego State would be legit. That would be a good one. Maybe you put in South Dakota State as a 1-star school, plug them in through the team builder and build that up. That will happen on my
Is the game only going to have 2 teams in the Pac-2 or whatever?
I think so. Like I don't know how that's so. Like NCAA 14. This is how I did this. And now we're really going off the rails, but this is fun to talk about. So like in the old game, like if you had more than 12 teams, you had to have divisions.
Mm-hmm.
So like in each division, you had to have 6 or 8 teams. And then it turned into, okay, you would just play the same teams over and over again and never would rotate on the other side. So what I did was I went and I did a relegation system with all the G5 schools. So the American was the best one, the Mountain West was the second. And then I just take first and last and shuffle them. And then also you have to have 4 schools in each conference. So the Pac-12 is a big problem because you only have 2 schools there. And yeah, so I'm excited for that not to be there. That's basically.
I do Oregon too, just because of the uniforms.
Oregon. Yeah. I'm doing Marshall, man.
Oh,
get the Randy Moss vibes back over there.
His son just retired.
Yes. I didn't realize he was still playing.
Yeah, but he wasn't really playing.
No, yeah, he was practice squatting. But yeah, we should get back to so Cardinals win in my book, right? Okay. We're just kind of freewheeling as we go here. November 14th. week 14, December 8th. Kirko Chains comes back to US Bank
Or
Stadium.
or Michael Penix.
Did you almost say the other word?
No, I would never say that.
Michael Penix comes back to, oh shit, I am off my game now. I'm like a Twins bullpen guy. Just throwing balls and Kirk Cousins back at US Bank Stadium. Boy, that's turning out to be fun, isn't it? Just the whole
He's gonna do the LeBron thing where he goes into like the Vikings locker room and is like, "Hey, so you guys need a quarterback for next year? You good? You need one?
JJ.
I think I might be free."
Is JJ working out? And Kevin O'Connell's like sitting there going like, "Kirk, I missed your Musk. When this is over, we should get an apartment together." It's like,
he just sold his house. I saw.
What's that?
I think he just sold his house that
he
he had in Minnesota.
So he is officially his family loves it in Minnesota.
I think I enjoyed how someone put like per sources or whatever, and then posted an image from like a realtor site that said sold. And I'm like, so you just found it online?
So his source was Zillow.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, he's officially gone.
The Falcons.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it was Mackie and Judd yesterday saying this is Kirk's Super Bowl. If he plays, so I'll give it a win. For a loss to the Falcons. A win for the Falcons. Yeah, win for the Falcons, loss for the Vikings.
I feel like this is one of the games where he just plays his heart out. Thank God it's not during Kirktober. We'd really be screwed.
Kirkvember.
It's Kirkvember, Kirksember. I don't know. It always moves. I mean, it's on the road. I could see Kirk Cousins freaking out, but I could also see Kirk Cousins just shooting lasers out of his eyes and fireballs out of his ass and pulling this one.
The sad thing is this game can't be flexed in the prime time because it's a noon start. It can be flexed, I believe, to the afternoon, but it cannot be, Monday, Sunday night, or whatever.
So you can only flex 325 games to Sunday. Okay.
Well, or TBA games.
That's interesting because if both the Vikings and Bears are a train wreck, that game could get flexed too because it's week 15, December 16th, Chicago Bears at home. I'll go with the split with the Bears. I'll pick the Vikings here.
Yeah. They usually play pretty well against the Bears at home unless it's, week 18 and you need to make the playoffs.
There you go. Week 16, Vikings at Seattle. Loss.
That's a loss.
No matter how bad the Seahawks are, I don't.
That could be flexed. That's one of the games that could be flexed.
Yes.
But I don't think it's going to be.
Cool stadium, though, after going out and seeing it last year. I would love to go see a game in Seattle. Who knows? Maybe I'll call an audible and decide to do that. But
kind of an old building, isn't it? It's like, I guess old in NFL years, like 20 years, I feel like.
Yeah. But it just looks really cool with like
they've renovated it.
And the canopy on top and just the acoustics and everything. Yep. Safeco and is it Central? It's not Lumen Field.
Lumen.
Yeah. Both very cool buildings. Sunday, December 29th, the Green Bay Packers at home. I'm going to say a win. I think the Viking. My rule with this is always Packers win at home is split. Like no matter what it is, unless like one team is just holy shit that much better than the other, and I don't think it is. So I'll pick a win.
Yeah, the Packers are they're just annoying because they're always good at the end of the year because they get healthy. I'll give it a win.
Okay. So we got a win there. We got a win there. Sorry, I'm creating some splits on my sheet here because it's kind of interesting, at least in mine. And then week 18, Vikings go to Detroit. I will say that's a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Loss?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a TBA. That game can be flexed too. But
what do you think? So overall thoughts on the schedule while I add up our predictions here. Okay, what do you think?
I think it's fine. I think it's like I would like the bye to be a little later than it was, but they do get the mini bye like 2 weeks later, so it's not too terrible. And there's some, they have that 3-game road stretch with what is it? The Jaguars, Titans, and Bears, which could be difficult. And I believe they only have I saw they only have 4 home games before December.
Yeah.
3 or 4. So they'll finish off a bunch of games at home at the end of the year, which will help if they're they're in the race or whatever. Which I expect them to be still in the hunt, probably with a few weeks left in the season. I don't think they're going to be terrible, but I also don't expect them to. If they squeak into the playoffs, I won't be surprised. But my expectations are they'll probably be 8-9 and just miss out.
You want to know a wild stat about the Viking schedule? So Sunday, October 6th, they go to London. They play the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
They have the bye October 13th. They play the Lions on October 20th, and they play the Rams on October 24th. They play 2 games in a span of 28 days, and they're 4 days apart. Like, what? That is the weirdest thing.
That's good though for the guys who might be hurt, because a lot of times if they're hurt a little bit, they'll skip the Thursday night game. But if they're like, well, I'm gonna have a bunch of time off, so I might as well just play.
It'll be a bye month instead of a bye week, basically.
Pretty much. No, I guess no October, pretty much, or is that November more?
No October, basically.
Yeah, and Thanksgiving is late this year. It's like the 28th, I think.
Yeah, a lot of Scott Hansen during October.
Yes, we're gonna get a lot of. I feel like Spiro Ditas and Daryl Johnston or whatever. I don't know. All those
Jonathan Vilma and Kenny Albert.
We are definitely getting a lot of Jonathan Vilma games.
Hey, this is awesome.
They're on CBS for the first, I don't know, 6 of their first 8 games or something like that. They're on CBS for
3. Yeah, so they have Fox week 1. Then it's 3 straight games with CBS, NFL Network, and then Fox, and then Prime. So they're only on Fox twice in the first 8 weeks.
So they're going to get Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts. And
what's wrong with Ian Eagle?
Oh, he's good.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, they're not going to be, Jim Nance and Tony Romo are going to, who are they playing, the Packers? Yeah, they're not going to that game.
They won't get Kevin Harlan. Well, maybe they'll get Kevin Harlan but I don't know. I think there'd be a conflict of interest because his dad's a Packer legend.
Yeah. Well, no, he's called their games before though.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. He's not, they don't care about that. He calls Timberwolves games. They don't care.
This is true. This is very true.
I'm
also bummed that Kevin Harlan's not going to be calling Game 7 on Sunday, but
is that ESPN?
That's ESPN. But we might get, if the Knicks win tonight, we're recording this on Friday.
You get JJ?
We might get Mike Breen.
Is JJ Redick still on it?
Mike Breen, JJ Redick, and Dorsberg.
I like JJ Redick.
He's very good.
He is very good. People
don't
also like him because he's too honest, but so what?
And a Game 7 dagger by Anthony Edwards with Mike Green springing bang with just yes.
Sunday? What time is that?
Well, it depends on what happens tonight. So if they win, it will be. I'm trying to think. If they win, it'll be at 2. So if the Knicks win, it'll be at 2:30. Knicks lose, it'll be at 7:00 Sunday. So,
oh boy,
there you go. I added these up while we were bullshitting there. So you have the Vikings going 8-9 this season.
Wow, that worked out.
Yeah, and I had the Vikings starting out 1-6 and finishing 7-10, which is peak Vikings. Just 1-6. We're sitting here being like, we got a shot at Justin Hunter. We could trade down. Maybe some teams falling in love with Quinn Ewers or whatever, and then nope. We fight till the end here in Minnesota. And
that was what 12. Was that last year, or was that was 2021 when they started, or 2020 when they started 1-5, and then they won They finished 8.
They got back to 500 and in a
8.
playoff spot, and then they lost their last 3 games or
Mike
something.
Zimmer's, he's there to win games. He's not there to set records.
That's awful. But
I don't think Tom Brady's going to call any of the Vikings games unless they get flexed because he's on the number 1 team. A lot of their games are like the Cowboys and Niners and Packers.
We are both pessimists. JJ McCarthy's going to start week 1. He's going to have the greatest rookie season in the history of the NFL.
I don't know. According to some of the predictions, I feel like we're pretty optimistic with our expectations for the Vikings.
I think I saw there's like 11 games that you can bet on at DraftKings right now. And like the Vikings aren't favored in any of them.
No.
Which, why are you betting on a November game?
Because you're a degenerate.
Shoot my shot right now. I'm going to put a $5 bet on the Giants. Yeah. So I mean, that's the schedule. Anything else you want to add, or you want to tell us what's going on in the Viking age?
No, I think I'm just overall, I'm curious to see how Tom Brady does in the booth. I think he'll actually probably do pretty well. They'll get annoying eventually, probably just like Tony Romo. But I mean, Greg Olsen gets to be on the number 2 team now, so that's like that makes that with
third leg Greg
with Joe Davis,
or as I like to call him, Adult Bam Bam.
Oh boy, he does kind of look like that. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's games on Netflix this year on Christmas.
Yeah.
Games on Peacock, Prime, ESPN Plus. I saw it's got an exclusive game too.
Yeah,
so.
Your parents are gonna have an absolute nightmare, so be prepared for that.
Yeah, I'll just be like, "Here, Dad. Here's a illegal link.
What channel is Netflix?
Here's an illegal link. Just watch it on your phone, because that's probably what a lot of people are gonna do this year. But I have a secret package where I just get everything, and it's way cheaper. Not gonna tell anybody, but yeah, it's definitely not legal either. So."
On that note,
don't find me, okay? Any FBI people, don't hunt me down.
On that note, what's going on at the Viking age?
We're just recovering, not recovering, but recapping. Yeah, recovering from the Vikings off season.
We're always recovering.
Yes, we're still looking at some stuff in the schedule, trying to figure out, probably write something about when JJ McCarthy might start. Because there's a couple options. I feel like a lot of people reference, including us, the Colts game, but I think there's other places too where you could squeak in. And then just some general stuff, looking at maybe some free agents that are still out there, because the Vikings have a little bit of spending money, even though they just signed Robert Tonyan. And just looking ahead to next year. Probably this is a slower time of the year, so we'll probably do some kind of looking back in the past stuff, ranking some quarterbacks or something like that. Always trying to have fun. But go check it out, thevikingage.com. You can follow me, Adam Patrick NFL, on, I guess it's x.com now. They changed the URL.
Oh, so you can't go to Twitter at all anymore.
Say Twitter. I'm sure it redirects still.
Yes.
And on Threads. So find me if you want to make fun of me or something.
I'm at the real Chris Schad, in case you wanted to follow me. X, Instagram are the main 2. Probably will do some Thread stuff here. More so in the coming months. Things are slowing down with the Brookings sports season. So summer in Brookings. Gotta love it. But that is all the time we have for the Viking Age podcast today. This is the official podcast of thevikingage.com. We do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm saying that wrong. So you never miss a new episode, and we can spread the word to the masses. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad. This has been the Viking Age podcast.